Hello everybody, welcome back to the Speedy Freak channel. So we are at it with Warframe this time, and we're going to be covering the Syndicates.
Check this out.
Okay, now this is my first Warframe video. I've been doing videos for everything, loads and loads of different games, but I've been playing a little bit of Warframe. I haven't been playing it that long, maybe less than a week, but I was confused when I first jumped into the Syndicates, and I was looking for advice online, looking for tips online on YouTube, and I was getting some information, but I was still left by questions unanswered at the end of it, so I didn't start using the Syndicates till maybe 2 days later, because I wasn't sure I was making the right decision. Okay, now there's a YouTuber online, his name, I think it's pronounced iFlynn, and it was his YouTube video that I watched, so he gets most of the credit for this with the idea of what I'm about to show you. But at the end of it, once I'd watched everything, I still had quite a lot of questions at the end. Not everything was covered, okay? So I'm not copying the chap. I just want to make sure everything's elaborated, everyone understands everything, okay? So I'm going to rant on a little bit more than he did, just because I want to, you know, little things pop in my head when I'm explaining it, and I want to make sure everything's being covered, okay? So there's a lot less questions by the end of it. Now, there are 6 syndicates in total to choose from, and there is no reason to give a slight shite about their morals, okay? Fuck morals, okay? New Loka, they're a bunch of vegans. Nobody gives a shit about New Loka. Red Veil want to cut everyone's dicks off. You know, they're the guys to go for. But, you know, everyone has their own morals, but that's not really the thing to care about. Fuck the morals, okay? Now, every single one of these syndicates have offerings. Now, these are what they offer you, okay? Now, this is going to be the main reason you choose the syndicate to start with. Now, remember, you're going to be getting 4 out of 6 of the offerings from these syndicates, okay? I'm going to show you how to get 4 out of 6. Now, from the very top till all the way down to the bottom of these cards here, you can get them with this syndicate, but you can also get them from their ally as well. So Steel Meridian's ally is Red Veil. I can still get all of these cards with Red Veil as I like, if I like. Maybe not exactly the same. Some of them might be in the other syndicates, but as far as I'm aware, most of these are going to be with my ally, Red Veil. Okay? So the real deal breaker, the real one that you want to pay attention to, is these at the very, very bottom. Okay? These are only specific to this syndicate. You can't get these in any of the other syndicates. You'd probably have to buy them from some player online. So this is going to be the real deal breaker for you. Okay? Now, as I mentioned, you are going to be getting 4 out of 6 offerings from all of these syndicates, but whichever one you choose first is the one whose benefits you're going to reap from first. Okay? Now, I'm going to start with Red Veil as an example, because that's who I've started with, as you can clearly see. Let's say I click on Red Veil. Now, usually there's going to be an initiate button, but I've already done that. You click on initiate, give them 10,000 and some salvage, something like that. And now, Red Veil gives me a sigil to put on my chest, which you can see right here. Now, you put that sigil on your chest, and any missions you do, you earn respect with Red Veil. And as you earn respect with Red Veil, you also earn some respect, not as much, with your ally, which is Steel Meridian. Now, your enemy, Arbiters of Hexus, and the opposed, Cephalon Suda, you get minus respect with them. You get a bit less minus respect with the opposed, as you do with your enemy, but nevertheless, neither of them like you. Okay, they want to stab you in the face, and nobody likes them. These two hate your guts, so as long as I choose Red Veil, for example, I'm never going to get the benefits from these two. Out of the question. So whoever you choose to start with first, look at the enemy, look at the opposed. Those are going to be the 2 syndicates you're not going to get the benefits from if you follow this, okay? Now, these are going to be the guys that mainly like me. They like me a little bit less, but I'm still going to be getting points with them. Parent Sequence and New Loka, they have no issue with me at all. So we can still be friends. They don't hate me, they don't want to stab me in the face. We're still good to go. Okay? Now, what's going to happen is, once you get to 5,000 out of 5,000 respect, like I already have, you then click on Next Title, you choose one of the offerings that they provide you, and then it resets, and now the max amount is 22,000 respect. I've also just recently done the same thing as Steel Meridian, because although most of my points were going into Red Veil, I was still getting some points of Steel Meridian, slowly but surely. Okay? Now what we want to do is, I want to keep working with Red Veil until I've gotten all of the offerings. That's personally what I want to do. I want to get absolutely everything. You might not want to get absolutely everything. You may want to chill your beans a little bit if you feel as though it's taking way too long. But I heavily recommend getting everything. Okay? And as you do all that, by the time you've gotten everything in Red Veil, you'll have gotten some things in Steel Meridian, but not everything, because you don't get as much reputation with these guys. Okay? Now what you don't want to do at this point, you don't want to put Steel Meridian's sigil on your chest to try and get more rep with them. Because the moment you do, Parent Sequence and New Loka are not going to like you anymore. They have no issue with you when you're working with Red Veil, but the moment you put Steel Meridian's sigil on your chest, they hate your guts. Okay? So you're going to carry on working for Red Veil. You're not going to get as many points with Steel Meridian as you would if you wore their sigil, but you're still going to get points. Okay? So you're going to keep working on that, and again, you're going to take all of their offerings. Now, one question I had with iFlynn's video, and I never got the answer until I tried it myself, is, and you might have the same question, because I didn't want to click on the wrong thing, as I'm working with Red Veil, eventually Steel Meridian is going to get to 5,000 out of 5,000. Do you click Initiate? Yes, you do. You click Initiate, and then when it gets to 5,000 out of 5,000, you also click on Next Title as well. Okay? There's no issues doing that. These guys aren't going to hate you. As I said, as long as you don't put their sigil on your chest, they're perfectly happy with you. Okay? So, once you've worked for Red Veil and you've got all the points there and all of the points for Steel Meridian, by the end of that, once you've got everything, the Parent Sequence and New Loka are still going to have no issues with you. Okay? So at this point, you would once again look at the offerings of what each of these have. You're going to be getting the benefits from both of these, but you want to look at both of their offerings to see which offerings you're going to want first. So if I like this, for example, if I really want this Sancti Tigris or whatever it's called, I will then initiate with New Loka. I'll work with them. The Red Veil and Steel Meridians, Steel Meridians are not going to like me anymore, but it doesn't really matter because I've got everything from them. I don't really give a shit. Okay? Got to work with New Loka, get all of their offerings, and then the Parent Sequence, I'll eventually get everything from them too, as they're an ally. Okay? I hope that makes sense. It's took a little while for me to explain it. I may have been ranting on a little bit. I may be going back and forth, but I just want to make sure absolutely everything's covered. Okay? Work with Red Veil, get all their offerings, then Steel Meridian, then these two who don't have an issue with me. Now, you don't have to start with Red Veil. I was just using them as an example because that's who I'm started with. Start with whoever you like. Whoever you start with, let's just say I like Cephalon Suda, for example. Whoever I start with, their enemy... Oh, that's not very nice. Their enemy, New Loka, and their opposed, Red Veil, I'm not going to be able to reap the benefits from them, okay? So whoever you choose, take note that whoever their enemy is with and whoever they're opposed with, you're not going to be able to reap the benefits from them. Only their allies and the two who have no issue with you. Alright? Hope that makes sense. Thanks a lot for watching. Any questions, anything like that, please drop a comment. I look forward to it. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. Final word of warning, which I've just thought of not long after making that little recording, is I've never tried this, so I can't say 100% certain if I'm right about this, but I think it's worth keeping in mind. As I mentioned to you all, I'm working with the Red Veil, but Steel Meridian are my allies. When you go to the map here, and then you go to the Syndicate missions at the top right, doing all of the Syndicate missions for your own Syndicate is perfectly fine. However, I can only assume that if you do these missions for your ally, that the two Syndicates that you're trying not to be enemies with I have a feeling most likely they'll end up being enemies. So for example, I'm going to be doing Red Veil. As these 3 Steel Meridian missions. Steel Meridians are my allies. If I do a mission for these, again, I haven't tried this, but I can only assume, because the parent sequence and New Loka are not friends with the Steel Meridians, if I do a mission for them, I can only assume that this is going to have a negative impact on these, if you see what I mean. Haven't tried it, can't say 100% sure if that's the case, but I'm 100% positive if you accidentally do the wrong Syndicate mission and help your ally directly, that's then going to screw up these other 2 Syndicates for you, okay? Word of warning. Thanks now, hope it helps.